Hello and welcome to my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. Today I am going to start my autumn sown sweet peas. Now this is something I do every year. I always start my sweet peas in the autumn and overwinter them indoors in the potting shed or in a grow house or whatever, so that they've got a little bit of growth on before we hit the spring, and then in springtime they can power on. It's absolutely fine to sow your sweet peas in the spring, and there's a school of thought that says that even if you do sow them in the spring, they'll catch up with those that were sown in the autumn. Up here in the west of Scotland, I like to get my sweet peas in the autumn because I feel that it gives them a bit of a start. Things are really slow here in the west of Scotland, starting up in the spring, and the weather takes a little bit of time to actually warm up, etc. So I like to get my sweet peas in the autumn, and then at least they've got a little bit of a start, because I think if I put my sweet pea seeds in the spring, they would give me later flowers. And of course the growing season here is not tremendously long, and so maybe I wouldn't get the show of flowers for the duration for my spring sown sweet peas as I will for my autumn sown sweet peas. That is my theory anyway. So yeah, let me show you. I'm going to try something a little bit different this year, so let me show you what I'm going to do, and you can see how I grow my sweet peas. So yes, I said I was going to do things a little bit different this year, and that's twofold. The pots that I sow into, I'm going to do differently this year, certainly for some of my sweet peas, and the preparation of the sweet pea seeds I'm going to do slightly differently. So let me just get my compost. Actually, in the compost slightly different as well. I am calling this the quick and easy method of sowing sweet peas. Slightly less attention to detail, but I'm sure I will get as good results as I normally do. So here's some general purpose compost. I would usually use seed sowing compost when I'm sowing my sweet peas, but I don't have any, and I'm just going to go with what I have. So here is some general purpose compost. I have a bit of vermiculite. I do love vermiculite to aerate the soil and to help drainage, so I'm going to put some vermiculite in there as well. You can use perlite, I prefer vermiculite. In fact, you can even use fine grit. So a little bit different there, I'm using a different compost. Normally I would use root trainers, and root trainers are very tall, long, deep pots, or actually they're sort of like trays that you can sow your sweet peas into. And sweet peas like a long root system, that is known, just like peas, but sometimes they're a bit footery, and actually this year I'm going to see how I go just using pots. So these are 7cm pots, and I'm going to sow my sweet peas into these. Not quite as deep as a root trainer. Will it make much of a difference? Let's just see. So I'm going to put, and I haven't sieved this either, it's pretty rubbish. This is really, see how badly prepared you can be, and see if it still works. So not quite filled to the top, because I'm then going to put this 3 sweet pea seeds in here, and then cover with, I would normally cover with vermiculite. I will probably just cover it with some more compost. I'm being a rebel this time round. So as the airplane goes over, I am just going to fill up my pots, and then I'll tell you about the sweet peas that I'm going to sow. There. So really this is pretty rubbish compost actually. Quite large bits in it. I probably should have sieved it. I know I should have sieved it, but you know, if I wasn't here and sweet peas were self-seeding, they would just self-seed wherever they could in ground, as long as there's some soil for them to grow in. They sort of muddle through. That is what my that's really the theory I'm testing this time round. So I've got some pots growing there. I've got some pots with compost in there. Now I've got a variety of seeds, and I purchased these from a place called Owl's Acre. They specialise in sweet peas. I'm going to also sow some of my saved seed, but for today let's just have a look at these ones that I have bought in. I've got 4 varieties, and the first one I've grown before, Our Harry. It is a sort of lilac, hopefully you can see that, sort of a lilac flower, and I love Our Harry. Quite large flower, beautiful scent. Definitely growing some Our Harry. I'm not one for burgundy colour, but I'm pushing myself a little bit this year, and I'm going to try Beaujolais, which is a sort of burgundy flowered sweet pea. And then we have one that is almost like a two-tone. It's sort of pale white, off-white, and a lilac colour. This is called Sir Jimmy Shand. And the final one that I bought in is this one called Dynasty, which is quite a nice deep pink colour. So which of these shall I? So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So let's put in Our Harry. How many seeds do I have? 3, 6, 9. Right, it looks like I've got enough here. I don't have scissors. Oh, use my teeth. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do differently is I am not going to soak my seeds. There's various things that you can do to your seeds to help them to germinate. Now, I've never really had a germination problem, and I've tried a variety of different ways. It's really just timing. If you don't do anything to them, it takes a little bit longer for your seeds to germinate than if you do other things to them. These are bought in really high quality seeds. So, and I'm not sponsored by Owl's Acre, I hasten to add. I just have used them in the past, and I know that you get really high quality seeds from them. So yeah, they're high quality seeds, so there shouldn't be a problem germinating. Other things that you can do is that you can take a nail file and just rub the seed outer shell and just make it thin at any particular spot, and that just makes it easier for the seed to germinate, because it's easier to push through, get through the shell that you have made thinner by rasping with the nail file. Another thing you might do is to soak your seeds. You can soak them in cold water overnight, or you can soak them for an hour or so in quite warm water. And both of these have the effect of softening the shell and again making it faster and easier for the seed to germinate. But this is the rough and ready approach to sweet pea sowing. So I'm not going to do any of those things. I'm just going to put them in as they are. So this is Our Harry. As I say, I'm going to put 3 seeds to each of these pots to sit them on the surface. And then I'm going to top it off with some compost. And that will be us. Well, I'll give them a little water and that will be us. So I've got 3 seeds left. I am just going to randomly drop them into a pot. Right. Shall I put vermiculite or shall I put compost? I shall put compost on top. Bearing in mind this is really lumpy compost, I'm taking a risk I suppose, but it should be fine. Okay, I'm going to write a label for these. I'm going to pop them in a tray with a propagator lid over and put them into one of my plastic grow houses that is going to be closed up all winter. And we'll see how we get on. I'll keep you posted as to how they grow. But let me finish this off and then I'll show you them in their location. Okay. That is our Harry, sown and labelled and now nestling cosily in a tray with a propagator lid on. I'm now going to go and sow some of the other sweet peas in exactly the same way, and we'll see how they get on. I'd love to hear how you guys sow your sweet peas and grow on your sweet peas and what varieties you're growing for next year. So pop some comments against this video and it would be great to hear. But for now I'm going to call a halt. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Bye bye for now.